Hey man, say man, this is the A-Man Show back at it again for more content. It is time for the NFL side of my channel right now. So recently, the Rams' struggle has been apparent as of late, despite winning against the Arizona Cardinals by 1 touchdown and a field goal in the final game of the regular season. And right now, they have clinched a wildcard seed going 10-6 and sitting at the second seed of the NFC West. So far, the Rams made it to their third playoff appearance in the last 4 years, but this team, I'm not too sold on the Rams really making a playoff run because based on how they played in the last 3 games, specifically the offense and excluding the defense, because defense has been amazing so far this season. I'm talking about the struggles on offense that made them lose games because this offense has been trashed in the last 3 games of the regular season. The offense earlier this year, they never looked this trash because sir, they had one of the weaker schedules in the NFL. The offense were clicking as they went 5-2 in the first 7 games of the regular season. But after they got smacked by New England, the biggest upset of not only that week, but of the entire season is where the New York Jets of all people won against the Rams. And after that game, I just lost all hope for this team because despite them going 10-6, I knew something is going to happen in the postseason, as that is them getting bounced in the wild card game. And why is that? It's because no matter how great the defense and the offense is on this team, there will be always one guy that is holding this team back, and that's the guy we'll be talking about in this video, and that is Jared Goff. Jared Goff is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the NFL because no matter how great his situation or how great the pieces he has around him, he will still have ways to fuck shit up and be very inconsistent. The LA Rams gave this man a 4-year contract extension worth $134 million after the 2018 season where he threw for 32 touchdowns and only 12 interceptions and led the Rams to a Super Bowl appearance. Ever since the Rams signed that man that many dollars, his play has steadily regressed in the last 2 seasons up until this season where in the second to last game of this year, Goff suffered a dislocated thumb on his right hand and it's unlikely that he'll play against the Seahawks. But even when he plays, he has done nothing but make this offense worse. And in this video, we're going to discuss why Jared Goff is holding this team back. And before this video starts, make sure y'all subscribe to my channel for more NBA and NFL content, as 94% of y'all who view my videos are not subscribed to my channel. So I would appreciate it if y'all support me by subscribing to my channel, and also turn on the notification bell on the right hand corner so y'all don't miss a beat. And also check out my blogs on the Amino app where I talk basketball on the Hardwood Amino app, and I talk football on the Gridiron. Both of these links are in the description below, so y'all go check it out. Anyways, stay tuned.
I paid my dues, now I'm a made man. I caught my fade, now I'm a made man. You never see me again. I got the juice, now I'm a made man.
Now, Jared Goff has been one of the problems that we need to talk about in terms of the struggles of the LA Rams, because Jared Goff was supposed to be that game-changing quarterback that the Rams desperately needed before the Rams moved to Los Angeles, and he has not lived up to expectations. Before Goff got drafted, the Rams back in St. Louis were one of the worst teams in the NFL and also been one of the most dysfunctional organizations throughout the last decade, as this team had one of the longest playoff droughts in the league and haven't made the playoffs for the past 13 years until 2017. Supposedly, Sam Bradford should be that franchise quarterback that the Rams needed to change the team around, but he rounded up being injury prone and didn't pan out in the NFL. The Rams will continue to draft awful picks that never panned out aside from Aaron Donald. The Rams finally knew that they needed a quarterback to build the offense alongside him, at which they drafted Jared Goff at the #1 pick of the 2016 NFL draft. In many draft reports, scouts say that he is the most polished passer in the NFL based on his field vision and his ability to distribute the ball well. That didn't translate well into his rookie year, as he had a terrible rookie season, as he has more interceptions than touchdowns and was sacked 26 times in only 7 games he has played. Man. Compared to the guy drafted after Goff is none other than Carson Wentz. Now, I talked about Wentz in my Jalen Hurts video, and by the way, if you want to check out the Hurts video, the link's on the upper right corner. It should pop up at the moment, but going forward, Wentz's rookie season has been iffy to say the least. but at least he has been much better than Goff's horrendous season. Now the following year, this is the year where they hired Sean McVay as their head coach. Sean McVay is known for being another offensive genius as he orchestrated the play action pass that Goff really strives in, and that is evident in the 2017 and 2018 season, where in 2017 he will emerge as a Pro Bowl level quarterback in the NFL as he completed 62% of his passes for 3,804 yards for 28 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Him alongside Todd Gurley will be considered as one of the best quarterback and running back duos in the NFL, as the Rams as a whole will go 11-5 and the following year go 13-3 as Goff completed 65% of his passes for 4,688 yards and 32 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. This is by far his best year of his career. But let me tell y'all that Goff only plays well in the regular season, but in the playoffs, that's a whole different story, because despite his numbers he put up in the regular season, he hasn't been good in the playoffs. I mean, at all. For instance, in the game against the Falcons in the wildcard game in 2017 playoffs, Goff only completed 53% of his passes for 259 yards for only 1 touchdown. Although Matt Ryan's play wasn't that much better than Goff, but he was more efficient than Goff. And then in the 2018 playoffs in the wildcard game, Goff only completed 54% of his passes for 186 yards and didn't score a touchdown. He was an absolute non-factor in the game, and he was getting outplayed by Dak Prescott, a quarterback picked in the same draft as Goff but got drafted in the 4th round. Luckily, they won against the Cowboys by a touchdown by a great performance by CJ Anderson. In these 2 games I mentioned, Goff has been relatively disappointing because despite having a great squad around him, he just hasn't been able to elevate his play in the playoffs as in the regular season, where they will have one of the most unstoppable offenses during the regular season. The game against the Saints is where he played his best in any postseason game he has played, because against the highly favored Saints, Goff completed 62% of his passes for 297 yards and a TD. His play is what helped propel them through the tough Saints defense, but guys, let's keep it a buck. The rest were definitely at the Rams' favor as this awful missed call cost the Saints a Super Bowl appearance. But still, the Rams made a Super Bowl appearance but later fall short against the Brady-Belichick Patriots. In the game that Goff has played in the Super Bowl, Goff only completed 50% of his passes for 229 yards, an interception, and got sacked 4 times. As a whole, Goff's playoff stats in the 2018 postseason, he completed 56% of his passes for 712 yards and 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. He has been underwhelming in this playoff run and gotten outplayed by every opposing quarterback in the playoffs, and despite his abysmal play, the Rams shockingly gave this man a 4-year contract extension worth $134 million. This has obviously been a sadly mistaken move, as Goff in the next 2 seasons will continually regress, and in the 2019 season, he will lead the league in pass attempts due to McVay's love of throwing the football. Goff will be top 3 in passing yards, but a worse completion rating and threw less touchdowns and more interceptions. And in this season, he will be worse. This season is defined of him as inconsistency. He has struggled to consistently complete passes all year, and comparing to the players on the side like a Mitchell Trubisky and a Baker Mayfield, who are considered worse players than Goff, both threw for more yards, threw less interceptions, and more touchdowns than Goff, and only Goff completed more passes than Baker, which just shows that Goff is just not that good of a quarterback, and a quarterback that can't win. Not even that, he has been the sole reason why the Rams has been struggling as of late, because before McVay came, Goff had a terrible rookie season, as after that season, we thought that the Rams done drafted a bust right out the gate and missed out on Carson Wentz, which I'll talk about later in the video. McVay is the reason why Goff's play has been elevated. Goff relied too much on McVay for him to succeed in the offense. The improvement in Jared Goff's play on the field is because Sean McVay has revamped the offense to elite, and based on Goff's regress play in the last 2 seasons, it proved why McVay was the reason why Goff put up numbers. If it wasn't for McVay, Goff would have continued his bust play. It would have been released later. Jared Goff needed a great coach for him to succeed in the NFL, which every quarterback needed to succeed. But a coach can only do you so much, just as set you up. You have to go up there and get the job done, and Goff just hasn't been doing it, rather the opposite. In order to be not only a great quarterback in the NFL but an elite one, you have to make plays even with the play calling is very questionable and or have a average or below average coach or even a trash offense around you. For instance, the reason why guys like Deshaun Watson, who is considered an elite quarterback in the NFL, is because he still finds a way to make a play, even if the play calling has been bad or even with an anus offense around him. Watson managed to lead the league in passing yards and threw more touchdowns, less interceptions, and improved his completion rating than the season prior despite the situation he is in. So the point I'm trying to point across is that with all the weapons in the defense that's arguably the best in the NFL and a great coach that Jared Goff has, he has not only been playing like trash, but his play is holding this team back. He even hit backup in John Horford playing. I will be fine with it because what impact Jared Goff is going to make for this team at this point? He has done nothing but make this team worse. And say what you want about Sean McVay. He is the one who brought them to a Super Bowl appearance and never had a season where they lost less than 9 games. Essentially, you gotta give this guy credit where credit is due, especially what he did to Jared Goff. In comparing him to his draft mates, including Carson Wentz, I think it's official that the Rams missed on Wentz because Wentz showing that he is a more talented and better quarterback than Goff. Aside of the terrible season Wentz has, Wentz in just his second season in the NFL managed to have an MVP caliber and almost MVP caliber year in both 2017 and 2019, and had the Rams draft Wentz with the number 1 overall pick of the 2016 draft, Wentz would put up more numbers and the Rams could have won a Super Bowl if he was on the roster. Don't look at me crazy thinking that Wentz is a better quarterback than Goff after this awful season that Wentz had, but y'all forget that Doug Pearson didn't set Wentz up to success either. But anyway, to recap, Jared Goff is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the NFL. He is too reliant on his head coach to set him up for success. His inconsistency in his play on the field is what holding this team back for a deep playoff run, and despite his underperformance in the 2018 playoffs, the fact that the Rams front office gave this man a 4-year $134 million deal is quickly biting them on the ass, because his regress played during the last 2 seasons is proof that his contract is not only one of the worst contracts in the NFL, but his play is only going to continue to hold his team back. And that's the video. Make sure y'all subscribe to my channel for more NBA and NFL content, and turn on the notification bell on the right hand corner so y'all don't miss a beat. And also check out one of my article posts on the Amino app, link in the description below. And that always, guys, this is the A-Man Show signing out.